Food fights, detention, dissecting fairies for science class. Just another day at a magical public school. Pavlina Sirin's fate as a deaf harbinger has ruined her life. She longs to be more than a herald of doom, aspiring to impact lives in her teaching career. But when a new student with bold dreams joins her class, Pavlina's dark power senses a terrible sacrifice to come. Finn McCool's warrior past didn't prepare him for 100 years of teaching for his community service. Spending the last decade of his sentence at a new school, the immortal develops a crush on his tempting but aloof co-worker. The Irish legend blows his chance when he butts heads with the Council of Pantheon's latest brave heroine, who also happens to be Miss Sirin's favorite pupil. However, the Chosen One's quest isn't all it seems. Pavlina's lethal prophecies come to pass, and her gift warns of more to come. Will this daring trio of heroes have what it takes to make the grade, or will they fail before they even make it to summer break? Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. Today's video, as you might have been able to put together from a variety of clues, is another book review. And the book in question this time is, I'm going to pick you up again, so try not to worry, is Heroes and Harbingers. The first in what is, at the time of this book's production, The Secret of Pantheon's Duology by A.R.K. Horton, a Florida-based author and self-professed workaholic who, let's see, okay, this framing is good, Florida-based author and self-professed workaholic with an interest in the fantastical and the spiritual. And these interests very much come to life within this book, as as she is able to integrate various aspects of many different mythologies to get her into forming her own fictional world. That being said, pretty much everyone does mythological pastiches these days. So it takes more than that to really stand out and have a book be distinctive. So with that out of the way, what does this book do in order to make itself distinctive? The TLEW for this review is, reading this book was like a breath of fresh air to me. Like, with all due respect to all the contemporary authors whose books I've read and reviewed over the past weeks, when I got into this book again, it was like going back into my wheelhouse, and I had a lot of fun exploring the contents of this book, looking through all the things that put it together, how it is that they've come to be, and how it is that they work both separately and together. What do they, and what the result of that of these varied both systemic and personal interactions actually ends up being. I found that to be a very immersive and very rewarding reading experience. Even though there were some parts of it that I didn't think work, it'd still be worth time and attention of any prospective urban fantasy reader who would be interested in delving into the story. That being said, I do have to issue some content warnings, namely for death, grief, kidnapping, pregnancy loss, substance abuse, not related to the pregnancy loss, and also life-threatening situations is listed among the content warnings, even though I'm not really sure what the point of that actually is, because lots of books, even aimed at younger audiences, do still feature those and don't have content warnings. Still, it is listed, and I thought I'd do my due diligence in mentioning it. And now that I'm done with the general aspects of this book, it's time I delved a little bit deeper. The plot of this book is told basically through 3 different perspectives, or POVs. The first POV is that of Finn McCool, an immortal Irish hero of legend who I think is supposed to be Cuchulainn. It's not confirmed in the story, but that's my headcanon at least. After running afoul with this world's powers that be, he ends up being sentenced to 100 years of community service, which in his case means teaching. And the book catches up with him as he is about to start the final decade of his sentence. The second POV character is Pavlina Sirin, a harbinger of death who finds who finds herself in a tricky situation due to her cursed gift, and as such she seeks balance or a greater sense of reward within her life through teaching. She soon finds that her new colleague is Finn McCool, and it soon becomes apparent to her that he kind of has a crush on her. The third POV character is Bree, a new face at the high school where they both work, who unbeknownst to any of the three, ends up having a sizable destiny foisted upon her. One that comes along with a sizable degree of unexpected consequences. I won't go through what these consequences are because that would really spoil the plot. But I will say that the way the consequences are revealed also has some interesting developments throughout how the world itself is also presented. So plot development and world building go hand in hand in an intriguing and simmering slow burn, which allows the author to explore this this world in a very engaging, very immersive manner. Taking the audience from a world that is somewhat similar to their own, to one that has a sizable and expansive cosmology and cosmology and connections and a variety of other elements that work together in ways that are that have been somewhat that work in perhaps unexpected but still culturally familiar manners. A great example of how that actually works comes from the reveal of the magic system, which occurs gradually as the plot develops, and the leads of this book encounter a variety of more diverse challenges, opponents, and obstacles to overcome, leading to them having to fish out and employ more and more of their knowledge and abilities in order to counter the challenges presented to them, which I have to say I found to be a very engrossing manner to present the story world. One that also helped keep me invested and helped hold my interest. That being said, I do have there are some questions there are some questions of mine that I think this book doesn't really address, and most of them are clustered around the question of why, even though the world of this book is ruled by is actively influenced by a theocratic ruling class, it is still quite similar to our world, which as far as we can determine isn't. I'm not gonna sit here and list all of the ways in which in which in which these two, in which our world and this fictional world are the same, but it is still somewhat unusual that there would be there would be this many. But I guess Horton needed to have at least some kind of common base to allow her uh, to allow her readers to recognize the setting. That being said, the presentation of the supernatural, obviously doesn't have that problem, and I think actually works quite well with how all of the elements build upon each other. The second major thing I would like to talk about is the characterization of this book. Given the book's action takes place over a school year, it perhaps expectedly can't really cover that entire period effectively. So instead, it has to focus on specific highlights that showcase who these characters are and how their relationships develop. And I have to say those highlights are particularly well chosen. Each of them allowing for a naturalistic depiction of the development that these characters are actually going through. They are given a starting set of all characters within this book are given a starting set of characteristics, and then as they interact with each other throughout the context that this book provides, readers are given an intriguing look into their inclinations, interests, desires, expectations, and also in how their relationships to each other grow and change. And I'm not just talking about the leading characters, I'm basically talking about all characters. All characters, even though they don't really receive a lot of page time, still receive plenty of attention in terms of how their personalities unfold. There is, however, one exception to that, and sorry about that. And this might showcase that I'm a little bit too YA brained, but Bree, who is supposed to be 15 years old, doesn't really act like a 15-year-old. I think she's written to be noticeably younger, not significantly, but still noticeably. As an example of what I mean, she actually is, she is actually very, she actively ships two characters over the course of this book. And when those two characters actually come together, i.e. kiss, her reaction is to say it's gross. Really, what 15-year-old says kissing is gross? Come on. I could believe that she is sheltered and would therefore have that reaction in particular, but nothing about the way she is presented really, really gives off that impression. So I have to say the way she is presented has this, has this little, has this issue, but really, but when it comes to the rest of the cast, I think they all come to life in, I still think they all come to life in interesting and realistic and approachable manners. Overall, even though this book still has some issues that I personally had to comment upon, I nevertheless find it to be an engaging and immersive read, one that I think is bound to attract the attention and admiration of most people who will end up getting acquainted with this book. My final rating for Heroes and Harbingers is a 4 out of 5. And that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there's anything you'd like to add, either to the book itself or to my review of it, That's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My books, the first of my own Heir to the Empire series, The Next Generation and the Path Not Taken, are available at various book retailers under their respective master links in the description down below. Right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. I also have a second channel where I talk about whatever it is that crosses my mind, though mostly it's still about storytelling, but in media other than books or literature. If you want to hear more about my thoughts on books or literature, then I suggest you stay on this channel and go through my extensive backlog of book reviews, writing advice, and miscellaneous others. If none of those prospects interest you, then I suggest you go ahead and do whatever you want with the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. And yeah, that's all I had to say. Until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.